Hello and welcome to Pedia Talks, an educational channel for the mums and dads. Today I will be talking about toilet training. Besides medical problems, there are a host of non-medical aspects of the developing children which, if not addressed properly at the right time, can lead to negative psychosocial effects on them. Toilet training is one such issue. There are a lot of doubts, myths and fallacies regarding the right time to start, how much to pressurize yourself or the child. I will try to cover all these aspects today. Toilet training encompasses two aspects: bowel training or potty training, urinary bladder training, that is, training for urination, which in this talk I will refer to as simply bladder training. Similarly, removal of stool and urine from the body, I will be referring it to as elimination. Now, when should we start toilet training? Toilet training is an important milestone in the developing child. Both parents and the child feel proud of achieving it. It also makes life very convenient for both of them. But both parent and child need to be ready for the training as it requires commitment and patience. For ease of understanding, I have put the assessment of readiness under the following headings: physiologic readiness, developmental readiness, behavioral readiness, and parental readiness. The first three are related to the child and are all happening together around the same age and stage of the development. The last pertains to the parent and is of equal, if not more, importance in goal achievement. So what is physiological readiness? It simply means when the body has become biologically ready to get toilet trained. This largely refers to the control of sphincters in the child, that is, when can they voluntarily control elimination, even though it may be for only a short duration. And generally this happens when the child is 15 to 18 months of age. Developmental readiness refers to the stage when the child has developed all those milestones which can enable them to undertake the act of elimination, like sitting on the toilet seat, walking up to the toilet, pulling their pants up and down, understanding verbal commands. They can express their toileting needs either verbally or non-verbally through expressions like pointing, taking you by your hand, etc. This stage also starts from 12 to 18 months onwards, and this is also the period when the frequency of elimination reduces so that the urinary frequency comes down to about 3 to 4 hourly and the potty frequency comes down to about 1 to 3 times a day, making the goal achievable. Behavioral readiness refers to how the child starts imitating adult behavior. A characteristic feature of this age group 15 to 18 months is something we call domestic mimicry. The child imitates almost every adult behavior that they see at home. For example, imitating the parent going to office, wearing the parent's slippers, cooking, washing clothes, sweeping, etc. They also demonstrate independent behavior in seeking their food, toys, clothes, and insisting on eating on their own. Needless to say, this is their learning stage through imitation, and various things can be taught to them. So, when the parent expresses their desire to toilet train the child, they are more than happy to please their parents and will themselves want to get involved in the process and feel proud when they proceed successfully from one step to another in it. Readiness from your side is absolutely necessary and very important, as a lot of commitment, patience and emotional energy needs to be invested at your end, as the process may take a few weeks to a few months. So, in case you are likely to be busy due to any imminent anticipated event in the near future, like birth of a new baby, shifting to a new home, return of a parent to work, having nil to minimal domestic help, etc., simply delay the process by a few weeks. Similarly, if the child is not ready as per description of readiness earlier, better to delay the process rather than frustrate yourself and the child. Before we go through the process of training, we should understand the basic physiological processes involved in the development of elimination after a baby is born. In the first 3 to 4 months, babies pass urine and stool reflexly after a feed and when they wake up from a nap, and they do so every 2 to 3 hourly. This reflex is often utilized by the parents who may help the baby to eliminate at these times. This is not true toilet training as the process is still involuntary and reflexive. However, it has several advantages. For example, it reduces the number of dirty diapers, keeps the baby dry majority of the time, thereby reducing the incidence of diaper rash. It also helps in promoting parent-child bonding. But when you are helping a baby eliminate in this manner, remember that we are dealing with a very small baby who still hasn't developed neck and spine control well. So always support these areas during the process. Potty training is faster to achieve as it happens lesser number of times in a day. By the time the baby is about a year old, the potty frequency reduces to about 1 to 3 times a day instead of every 2 to 3 hours. And it is no longer happening after every meal. Also, by this time, most babies are sitting with support and can be easily placed on an appropriately sized potty seat. Attempt potty training at more or less a fixed time of the day and after a major meal. The best time is the morning time after the solid morning meal, but if it is convenient for you, you can also do it in the afternoon period. Now, why we try to choose a time after a major meal is as physiologically the bowel is more likely to move then. Continuing like this every day, after a few weeks, babies themselves will be able to understand their need to eliminate and point you to take them to the potty seat even when it may not be happening at the regular time. Now, bladder control is developmental progression and associated training. By 15 months of age, kids start becoming aware of the wet pants. You get to know this when they earlier would pee in the pants and continue to play and run around. But now, they start pulling at the wetness. This is one of the most important indications that the child is ready for training. You should also show them that you are very happy about this. By 18 months, they can identify the difference between the two types of elimination. Between 18 months to 2 years of age, they announce to the parents that they want to use the toilet. This is the time when they should be made to walk to the loo for their toileting needs. Of course, there will be a lot of wet accidents as they will initially only tell you in the nick of time, and unless you are a flighty sports person, you will not be able to take the child that fast to the washroom in a dry state. Be prepared for this and don't worry, it happens to everyone. By the time they are 2.5 to 3 years of age, they will give you sufficient reaction time so that timely action can be taken. You may have to help them in opening and tying of the trousers or pajamas. By 4 or 5 years of age, they are independent so that the toilet can be managed along with their clothing. Each step described above should be anticipated and child led from one stage into another gradually with utmost patience, love and praise. By 2 years of age, most kids do not pass urine involuntarily in the pants during daytime, and by 3 years, most of them will be dry at night too. So now that we know how the developmental progression takes place, let's see how we go about it. So motivate the child. Explain the benefits of being dry. You can let them know that all adults like to go to the washroom as they don't like to get wet. Children feel happy that by doing this, it means they are growing big too. Teach children to differentiate between the two types of elimination. Explain the how and why of the process and the steps involved. That is awareness for toileting, communicating their needs, walking to the washroom, sitting on the toilet seat, undressing, actual act of elimination, wiping, redressing, flushing, hand washing, etc. Initially, most of these steps will have to be done by the parents, but gradually they start taking over more and more of these aspects independently as you motivate them by treating all these steps as the child's accomplishments. Now some tips. The size and the height of the potty seat should be comfortable for the child. It should be placed in a way that they can walk up to it and sit on it with minimal help. Boys can be made to walk directly to the washroom and pee into the pot. Training should always be done under parental supervision and child should not be left alone till they are totally independent in the process. Ensure more or less regular feeding times, especially for the major meals. Make it a point to walk the child to the toilet after a meal and after they wake up from a nap. In the initial few days, make them sit on a potty seat with a diaper, and once you're sure they know how to sit right, remove the diaper. Ensure that the clothing is loose and easily removable. Don't rush the child and never make it into a power struggle. You will only end up stressing yourself and the kid. Work the child around positive reinforcements rather than the negative ones. This means that you praise them, reward them for a dry event rather than punishing them for a failed one. The message that goes across is the same, but there is no negative psychosocial effect on the child. Sometimes, child may not be responding positively to the training and resisting it. Now, this could happen due to a variety of reasons. Maybe we are attempting the training too early, the child is still not ready. Maybe we are being too aggressive about it, resulting in parent-child conflict. Maybe the child is having some irrational fear or anxiety. Perhaps they fell down themselves or saw someone else falling down from the potty seat. Parents may themselves have some negative experience with toilet training, which may be getting transmitted to the child. Some kids just have a difficult temperament. The child may be having chronic constipation, which may hamper the training as the stools are hard and painful. Now, what to do if the child is refusal to train? Well, don't worry. Just discontinue the training for a few weeks. The roof is not going to fall after all if it takes some more time. Reintroduce the topic in a non-threatening manner after a few weeks and remotivate the child. Never scold, punish or taunt them. Never, never, never compare them to their siblings and friends. Treat constipation if it is present. If refusal continues for longer periods, that is more than 3 to 4 months, you can consult a doctor once. Thank you and happy parenting. If you found some value in my lecture, please like and share the video and subscribe to my channel Pediatalks.